Okay, so let's recap the lesson. This is a little sloppy, and I'll try and go through it a little bit slowly with you, but a lot of the work's already on there. So if I went on page 655, page 655, and we're talking about a parabola, and every parabola has a different value of A, and A is the value that makes it either tall, a stretch, or wide, which would be a shrink, okay? Or I can even make it upside down, okay? So our thing today is we need to find the value of A, okay? How do you do that? Well, you need 2 points, and you need an equation. You need 2 points, and you need an equation, okay? So we have a couple of equations we've learned, and on this one, since we know the vertex, we chose to use the vertex formula. So this is the vertex formula. This should be in your notes. So I have a vertex at -1, -3, so I plug my -1 in for H and my -3 in for K, and that's what happened. They put the -1, -1 here for H and the -3 for K. Now we need another point. So we find another point, because you need 2 points, and the point 1, 0 is the point I want to use. It's an easy point. So I can plug the 1 in for the X value, and I can plug the 0 in for the Y value. And I solve, and 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Okay, that's where I got the 4 from. Plus 3 is 3. Divide by 4, and I get 3/4. So that's the value of A. I rewrite this equation with the value of A, which is 3/4. So right here, I'm going to write my 3/4 X plus 1 squared minus 3. That's the equation of this parabola, okay? Now, Dave did a little bit differently because we know the x-intercept. So we have another formula, the x-intercept formula. So we got 2 formulas we can use. And we know the x-intercepts. One is at -3, the other is at +1. So I'm going to take my -3 and plug it in for H, my 1 and plug it in for K. So I'd have an x minus -3 or +3. And I'd have a x -1, okay? So then I need another point. Remember, I need another point. So then in this case, Dave did it differently. He picked the vertex. So he picked -1, -3, and he plugged that in for my point X and Y. Plugged the -3 in for Y, plugged the -1 in for X. That becomes a 2. It becomes a -2. We multiply, we get a -4. We divide, and we get 3/4. So they both get the same answer, just a different route, okay? It all depends on the information you're given. So then we turn the page. It's a little sloppy, so I'll try my best to go through this with you. It's a little sloppy, sorry about that. But in this one, this is right equation for quadratic form in vertex form. So we started with our equation for the vertex. We start with this equation because that's our vertex equation. It tells us the vertex is at 3, 1. So put the 3 there and the 1 there. Now I need the value of A. Okay, ignore this 2. Ignore this 2. I need the value of A, so I had to pick a point. And they give us a point 1, 9. So every point has an X and a Y value. So I put my 9 in for Y, and I plug my 1 in for X. Okay, so then from here, 1 minus 3 is a -2, and a -2 squared is 4. And then I solve -1, I get 8. Divide by 4, and I get 2. So A is 2, so I go back and put my 2 here, and that's the equation for this quadratic. Number 4 is a little bit different because they give us in factored form, which is 0. So we're going to use our other formula, okay, our factored form, our x-intercept formula. Here's our -4 goes there. A -4 is +4. Here's our 0 goes here. So x minus 0 is just x. Now I need another point. You always need 2 points. So we get a second point at -3, 6, x, y, right? So I plug my 6 in for y. And I plug my -3 in for both x's, for both x's. I'm going to put my -3 here and here. Okay, so then I simplified. -3 plus 1, I'm sorry, -3 plus 4 is 1. Scoot it over here. And -3 minus 0 is -3. I multiplied, and I got a -3. Divided by -3, and I get -2. So -2 is the value for A. So I come back, and I put it right there. So I rewrote my equation as y equals -2 times an x plus 4 times an x, because, you know, it's just x. Okay, number 5, same thing, which is another one with a vertex. So it says vertex form. So I wrote down my equation, which is vertex equation. And I put my 6 here for H, my -1 for K, oh, nope, sorry, backwards. -1 for h, which is -1. My 6 for k. I need the value of a, so we need 1 more point. They gave us another point. So 4 is my y. -3 is my x. So I plugged in my point, x, y, 4, -3. I simplified this. This is really going to be a -2. And then -2 squared is 4. Then I solved what -6 minus 6 gives me a -2. Divide by 4, divide by 4, and a is -1/2. So I take my -1/2, bring it right back there, and I rewrite my equation as y equals a -1/2 times x plus 1, y squared plus 6. And this one we didn't, I really don't like this question, so I'm not really going to go through it. This one's difficult because we don't really know the value of these. We guessed, we thought it was about 1.5. We came up with an answer. The book came up with a different answer, but this one's difficult because you can't really tell what these points are, okay? You get a vertex, but you need a second point, but you can't get it. Unless, well, maybe. Maybe you can take a point right there. You know what, next time I do this, I'll pick the point 2, 6, and I'll plug that in. That might give me a different answer. Okay, that's all I have. Homework was out of the book. It was page 659 and 660.